It's going all right. We're digging out the old pond. Yeah, just a lot of silting and
We have about 4 minutes to start. Everybody who wanted to sign in to speak, signed in, so we're on the podium.
I don't think so. Maybe my dog gets caught in. Yeah. Went over there.
You don't want the absences. Welcome, waiting for you.
Thanks for the bigger one.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Weber. Zuhal.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Coffee.
Here.
Daly. Degler.
Here.
Eads. Here. Marvin.
Here.
Purdy. Here. Sanders.
Here.
Shook.
Here.
And Metzger.
Yes. Okay, we'll have the pledge to flag. If you want to write down here. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, be with us and guide us this evening as we prepare to conduct the business of the county. Here in the month of July, we celebrate our nation's independence and remember that the freedoms, liberties, and rights we now enjoy were hard-earned and must be defended. We ask, Lord, that you continue to bless and watch over the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I just asked that maybe we could amend the agenda to allow maybe for public comment before there's any appointments made to the Board of Review. We have information that I think the board members need to hear before any appointments are made. Please consider that.
Give me a second. Should require a vote by the board to change it. You need about 3 minutes, do you, Mr. Nasso?
Maybe a little longer than 3. 5 minutes, maybe?
Do you want all your public comments to come now, or do you want to have a chance to speak again late at the end of the meeting as well?
I think all of them would be fine now. We're just asking for the agenda to be changed so that we can have public comment before the vote
Okay,
on.
thank you. Without objection. Okay, there's been a motion, second by, motion by Zuno, second by Bell, to amend the agenda to allow public comment now. Roll call, any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Zuho,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Dagler,
Okay.
Eads. Yes. Marvin,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Sanders,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes. And Mr. Perry, you want to speak first?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to talk to the board as well as the folks here tonight about the board of review. I have some items I would like to share, and I've done some homework for some issues that I think need to be either cleared up or explained, because there's things here that for one reason or another doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'll be as brief as I can, and I'll get through this as quickly as I can. I have in front of me the 2017 Rules and Procedures from the Board of Review. The Board of Review asks a couple of things when you go in for a complaint. They want to know about either comps in the area, or they want to see an appraisal. Basically, that's what it takes in order for the Board of Review to listen to a complaint. I think you're all aware of that. Couple of things with that. We've had some issues, and I'm going to go through some of the examples of what has transpired through this reassessment. I'm going to pick on 3 or 4 properties, and I haven't been through all of them, but I'm going to just share with you what I'm seeing that's just disjoint and doesn't make sense. I'm looking at a 2016 Board of Review complaint, and this was First Mid-Illinois Bank. When we got through reassessing for the new amount, it was $359,532. That's what they said the property was worth. That was with the reassessment. A Decatur appraiser came down here, did the appraisal, and appraised it at $142,000, and lo and behold, that's what it came up to, and that's what the board accepted, $142,000. So we start out at $359,000, and all of a sudden now it's down to $142,000. Now, folks, to me that's too big of a spread. This building's been around for probably 40 or 50 years, and I don't understand. I don't understand how somebody can compile a $359,000 value to a property, and when we get an appraisal, it's worth $142,000. It's lopsided. Would you all agree to that? It's kind of lopsided, $359,000 to $142,000. Okay. And then I go to another one, and I show this. This is on Charleston Avenue. This really doesn't make much sense to me. This is 901 Charleston Avenue. It's 2 lots and an office building. The ground value, and I'll show you this too. It says here on the Board of Review, it says that lots on Charleston Avenue are revalued at $10 a square foot. $10 a square foot. This particular property, they had 2 lots, and his ground value actually was $46,662. 2 lots makes one lot $23,331. 3 blocks away, we have another gentleman on the same Charleston Avenue, and for some reason, that's Dan Corey, and his lot value was $17,500. Now, if it's all $10 a foot on Charleston Avenue, and all of a sudden somebody's getting it for $17,500, why is this going on? I just want to know why. Because if it's all $10, this is $750. What are we doing here? If we're reevaluating, what's changed here? That to me is another question mark. That's not fair and equitable. Okay, let's go on. And I'll hurry. I promise you I'll hurry. here's a gentleman that sends in an appraisal. He doesn't send an appraisal, I'm going to read you the letter. This is from Keller Enterprises in Effingham, Mr. Keller. He writes to the Supervisor of Assessments, "Enclosed is my signed 2016 property assessment complaint for property located in Noyes 2nd Edition, Mattoon, formerly used as a bulk plant by Keller Oil Company. The current assessment is $25,787, which would mean the property would value be $77,361, and that's what the form says for the new value. And then he says, I'm requesting a lowering of that value to $12,250, which would put the property value at $36,750. I figure I would put on it to sell. I would be happy to take $35,000 for this property." Here's the letter, December 8, 2016, from Mr. Keller. So I'm looking at this sheet. Number one, he doesn't show to come to a board of review. He doesn't show, he wasn't there. And they moved it from $77,361 to $12,200. No appraisal, and no comps at all in file. So here we go doing something else. Now, is this fair? Everybody else has to go get appraisals or comps and play the game. What's going on? And if you think this is right for the people that are paying the taxes, I got a problem with it. It's not fair and equitable. Here's one. This is the Blawnox Credit Union. They sent you a letter, or they sent the Supervisor of Assessments a letter on December the 21st, because when they got reassessed, they were told that their building was worth $450,780. They got an appraisal, and the value on the appraisal was $205,000. So I'm going to ask you something. The appraisal comes in from Springfield. It's not a regular appraisal around here. He's from Springfield. They paid $5,000 for the appraisal. And guess what the Board of Review did? They lowered it some, but they're still paying $336,000 on a $205,000 appraisal. So is this fair and equitable? Is this what we're asking you to do? And if this is so much wrong, why are we continuing down the road with people that obviously don't pay any attention to what the rules and the procedures are? Does that make any sense to anybody? Can you see why I'd be a little bit upset if I was a taxpayer? You think I'm just up here growling? Or do you think the numbers dictate what's going on? I know you can't comment, but if you think this is right, we got a problem. And I think you need to look into what's going on in the office. I don't think it's right. And there's more to come.
Did all those go to the state? Did they do the process they're supposed to
It
do?
doesn't matter if they go to state.
or no?
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't go as far to say that, Corey, but the point.
Okay, I mean, there's a process. I'm
The
not saying I
point
disagree
is,
with you,
I'm
but
sure they
there's a
can.
process that we have nothing control of. That's the
You do
Board of
have
Review.
something to control when somebody
You do?
puts a $400,000
We
value
control
on a
the
piece of
review.
property. It's only worth
You do.
$200,000. It's not right. You're so far off of these numbers, it doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
it's not, we're not all far off.
I'm talking about the
All right,
people.
thank you.
Contract.
Okay, Jim, give me just a second. We
Sure.
got out of order.
Am I out of order?
No, you're not. Technically, I am.
Do I have to sit back
Because
down?
I need to approve the minutes.
I can sit down.
Give me just a moment here.
I'm a good citizen.
Well, he's already taken a seat. You don't mind if we do the minutes, do you?
Go ahead.
Can we, okay, your minutes are included in your board pack. Is there a motion to approve minutes? Moved by Marvin, second by Ms. Purdy. Roll call, please.
Zuhn? Yes. Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Degler?
Yes.
Eads? Yes. Marvin?
Yes.
Purdy? Yes. Sanders?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Master?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for changing the agenda and allowing for public comment. Corey, just from a remark you made, yes, you do have control over the Board of Review in the sense that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman, they serve at your pleasure, is that correct?
that.
You appoint them, correct? The chairman of the board
That's it, we
appoints.
appoint them.
Okay, we appoint.
But that doesn't mean we control what they do.
That's not what we
Just want
meant.
to make sure we're on the same.
That's not what we meant. I don't think that's what we meant, but getting to that point before I move on to what I have, is we made known months ago, 6 months ago, that we were having problems at the Board of Review. And I would like to ask, did anyone on the board take the time to look into the Board of Review, to look at the video of Rob's appeal that we videotaped when we went there, or look into any of these things? Because I don't know how you could honestly look into them and not find problems. And here's the thing, guys. We're not coming here just to be a thorn in your side. We have legitimate concerns, and we're doing our homework. So we're not just complaining to complain. I say that because we've got a problem at the Board of Review. You are our only outlet for making any type of correction or getting any conciliatory, in this process. There's nothing we have except the appointment process. I would ask that you take into consideration, or at least table, until you can allow, maybe at another time, for us to show you what's going on over there, because it's not fair and equitable. I mean, you guys really want to appoint these people or reappoint these people when all this is going on? I mean, these are legitimate concerns. So I before you appoint him, Mr. Chairman, I just ask that you take that into consideration, maybe delay it, table it. I'm just saying that. That's my opinion, but there's something going on here, folks, and it's not right. So, in Corey, yes, you can appeal to the state. You know this is a small town. Why in the world do we want to put taxpayers in a position to where we've got to appeal to the state? We've got to get FOIA requests. We've got to go digging around. You know how many appraisals we're going through and Board of Review sessions we're going through just to find this stuff out? But it's rampant. It's not just a few things. We're not just picking and choosing. It's not right what's going on.
We're not
No.
making you do any of those things, but I'm just saying, there's a process that we.
I understand
we
there's a
don't control.
process.
There is a process.
But there's also people that that are appointed to that
And I
position.
understand that.
And if those people are not being fair and equitable, and we bring these concerns to you, I think it's fair that you listen to us and look into it. Part of the problem we've had over the last 7 months is we have brought legitimate concerns to this board, and half of you are looking down, not taking notes, you're not taking note, and I'm watching. And it's like, God, I just can't wait till they go away. These are legitimate concerns we have, and I think they need to be looked into. That's all I got to say on that. I also have a couple of questions. I would like to know concerning this Board of Review process, and we're talking about a process with the assessment. I understand that the county, and maybe Mr. Lockhart, I saw him earlier, this might be a better question for him, whether he wants to answer or not, but I know that you were upgrading the DevNet software so that the data can be all inputted into DevNet to make the process streamlined, save the county money. I mean, we know that. The problem was in Mr. Becker's bid, it says one of the contingencies that he would take on the job if there was a fully functional DevNet system. As of August 8th, the minutes of your committee, when you were the head of it in 2016, Corey, you were getting monthly, as I understand it, you were getting monthly reports and updates by Mr. Lockhart on whether or not that software and the problems you were having transporting the data from ProVal into DevNet, that there was a big problem there. Now this is August 8th, the minutes from the August 8th meeting. You had people from DevNet here talking about it. As I understand it, Mattoon Township assessment was completed in mid-October. What I'd like to know is, was the DevNet software completely up and functional when every one of those assessments was put into the DevNet system? Or could they even be imported and put into the DevNet system? Because I have a feeling that some of the reasons we're seeing so much disparity is there might be a possibility that someone else is coming up with a formula and maybe not following the process. So I'd just like to know, is currently the DevNet system up and functional right now as per Mr. Becker's bid agreement? Meaning, has all the data from ProVal been imported into DevNet? And if so, was that data used to calculate the reassessments of all the property in Mattoon Township?
Can we answer that question? question, guys, somebody?
I mean,
I'll
does
answer
anyone
this.
know?
Yes, correct.
I mean, your
Kelly?
committee was getting updates.
Well, that doesn't mean to August, buddy. You know,
Okay.
it's a year later, I don't know. Like Kelly could tell us.
The DevNet system, we had to enter sketches for Mattoon Township. Those were done before Bob Becker did that appraisal. So, we're doing it by township. I know they've got Mattoon Township done, Charleston done, but yes, it was entered.
Because I know that the agreement that ProVal had with some other company, I don't know if it's Marshall and Swift, they couldn't, there's some agreement that took a lot of money and time and they wouldn't import the numbers into the DevNet system.
Correct, and it was, the numbers were imported, it was the sketches that were the problem, so the building footprints, basically.
I thought that those calculations and those measurements and that were done either by the township assessor or Mr. Becker visiting the individual properties.
Well, they were already in the DevNet or in the ProVal system. We basically had to hand enter it into the DevNet system. But it is complete.
Because I find it hard to believe that as of August, that the entire Mattoon Township was done. I mean, I find it hard to believe that every property in Mattoon Township could have been, you know, and the system was fully functional, and he could have got it done in that short amount of time, when 8 months had gone by. I mean, his contract had already started, and his contingency was based on a fully functional DevNet system. So I don't know what all the answers are, but I do know this. There's a lot of disparity in what's going on, and there's enough disparity in these appraisals and that to warrant holding off on any appointments to that Board of Review. And that was, I said this at the, I believe at the March meeting, that these people need to be looked at because something funny is going on at the Board of Review. And I would encourage the board members to look into this. Don't just sit there and listen to us every month. Do your jobs and listen to the people. You have access to the same information we have, probably quicker than we have. How many of you actually looked into it? Do you know these people on the Board of Review? I don't know. But I just don't think it's right. And that's what I'm saying. That's being a leader. That's the leadership that we want. And if we can't get that, then we're going to have a change in leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stodman?
I'll just decline tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Dukeman? Do you?
Mine's a little bit different, the topic that I actually brought up tonight, but so maybe a little relief to you. Who is actually the Finance Committee Chair at this time?
I am.
You are? Okay. Because at the present time, can you tell me if this county